So this is our second live of the day. We did another live a little bit earlier. This one is probably going to be a little bit shorter. It depends on how long the commentary going to discuss this particular matter. But I just want to be clear about something. Got some asshole that just came over here smoking a cigarette right there. One second. Might not be an asshole. This might just be the place where they're supposed to smoke cigarettes. I can't really smell it, so fuck it. I'll stay right here. But if I could, I'll just walk away. It ain't no big deal. In any regard, so I want to have a real quick conversation with y'all about. I want to have a real quick conversation with y'all. Real quick, the prosecution holding back information from the jury.
I don't live in a penthouse. I don't live in a penthouse either. And I got a home. You want to know what's going on? Stuff these labels in my house. Call it crazy, or I'm going to call you a country ass bumpkin. From down south, that still hang with things.
I live in a gated community, so we know she's not talking about me.
And we do what we got to do.
There's this lady that be out here. I don't know why they haven't arrested her or something, or just told her to leave or something. She just outside just causing a disturbance every day. Like, not arrest her, but you gotta do something with her. Move her the fuck along. She just be out here just yelling, man. This mental illness is retarded. It's crazy. Apparently, she's accusing some dude over here of living in a I don't know. I think everything that comes out of her mouth is lies. So she just lying about some random shit. And anyway, in any regard, let's get back to what we're doing. So something I want to talk about real quick. The prosecution, not even allegedly at this point, I want to be clear. The prosecution, it has been proven that they have not allowed for all of the text messages to come into court. Now, with that also being clear, I want to be clear on this. It's not the prosecution's job to show the jury everything. That's one. Two, in order for the prosecution to show the jury everything, we'll be in court for so much time. Like, it'll take so much of our time that we'll be in court. So some people are trying to do a live over there, and she's just interrupting their live, talking crazy. She just let it out that she's homeless by accident. I'm sorry that our live has turned into this, but for everybody that don't know, they have a lot of mentally ill people standing outside this courthouse. A lot. Some of them keep their mental illness to themselves, and other, like this lady, who I'm not going to show y'all because we don't do that. What she does is everybody has to know about her mental illness. So she spends the whole entire time letting people know that she's mentally ill. She does this all day. When I tell you all day, I don't think I've ever seen her not be completely off the wall. So, sheesh. This is exhausting. Oh, for everybody that don't know, she basically took her dress almost all the way off in the middle of the damn street, man. That's why she's talking about she was adjusting her dress. She not only took her dress off all the way in the middle of the street, but she did it right in front of homeboy camera over there that she talking to. Like, so. A minute ago, before I got on the live, she was trying to get into an argument with me. I just let her know God loves her. We not doing it. Anyway, let's get back to what we talking about. I'm sorry. So there is a lot of text messages that the prosecution, well, not a lot, but we're going to assume that there's a lot, but there's some text messages that the prosecution did not bring into the trial that the defense then brought into the trial by asking the forensic psychologist, not the forensic psychologist, but the agent that was used to do the forensics on the text messages and things in order for them to know what they were going to use and not use, because they have to have somebody be able to get on the stand and testify. For everybody that don't understand this, unless the prosecution and the defense agree to evidence coming in, evidence generally needs to have an individual that's going to testify to what it is. I know people don't get that because a lot of people go off of this street shit. A lot of people go off on this street shit where they believe, you know, all a person got to do is say anything, like people don't lie. So basically, evidence generally isn't just allowed in. That's not the way that this works. Evidence has to be put into context and for the jury so they can know what they're looking at. And the easiest way to put evidence into context is to have a witness. So what the prosecution does is the prosecution takes all of these text messages and they have one of their agents then go through all the text messages, you know, categorize them and then chart them so they can see the accuracy of the text messages. And that's basically what the prosecution did. But what the prosecution did not do was give text messages that in any way at all would have exonerated or made Diddy not look as bad as they're trying to make him look. So there's text messages, just so we can be clear, because remember, Diddy is being accused of some horrible things. And there's text messages that actually Cassie had, that is Cassie asking to be a part of these situations that people are now feeling bad for her about. There's text messages where she's saying she wants to do free calls. There's text messages where she's saying she never wants to not do free calls. She wants to do free calls for the rest of her life. These text messages exist. There's text messages of her talking graphically about some of the deeds that she's done inside of. This is just so annoying. Levels of annoying. We're gonna move down. We're just gonna move down some because the mental illness is bananas. This is just levels of bananas. I have no want to be a part of what's going on over there. So we're gonna move a little bit further. We're gonna pray for her. And we're gonna pray for everybody that has to deal with this particular character. But we're gonna pray for her. There's not gonna be no hate. We're gonna pray for her. All the prayer. Alright, so we're gonna move over here. This is a little bit further. She has to scream a lot louder in order for me to have to hit. Don't pray for her though. We ain't gonna hate. We don't want no bad for that lady. That being said, there was a couple of text messages that was exposed by the defense that the prosecution didn't even show the person that was doing the forensics on their text messages and on the phone calls and things and such. So there was a lot of this stuff. There was a couple of text messages. Some of them are Cassie, it seems like, pleading with Diddy, you know, to do more of these freak offs. What I would like to know, and what I think the prosecution should have done, is let us know exactly what Diddy was paying, you know, as far as Cassie's lifestyle, in order for her to keep her lifestyle up. You know, the expenditures that Diddy probably was doing. I think they should have did the same thing, even more so, in for Jane Doe. You know, liking to be smutted out or whored out or anything like that. Remember, especially in Jane Doe's case, she's a whole mother. We want to give some of these people the benefit of the doubt of their behavior, but obviously anyone that engages in this type of behavior, you know, it's already in them. It's already something that they were susceptible to do. We're not going to act like every single person that this happens to, you know, was just as right as the ever-driven snow. We're not going to act like that's a thing. We're not going to pretend like that's a thing. We're going to be honest over here. And a lot of these activities wouldn't be able to be done unless the women were eager to do it. And I think that the prosecution should have just brought out some of the reasons why the women would have been eager to do it, as far as, you know, what could have been offered to them, just so we could be clear. What up, OG Bawley, what they could have been offering to them, I think. But I think that the defense, pardon me, did a great job of pointing out that the prosecution wasn't allowing for all of the defenses, pardon me, all of the text messages to go through. Bally, copy. Shout out to OG Bally. Not allowing for all of the text messages to go through. I think that in my opinion, I think the defense did a good job of that in their cross-examination. And I think that makes it look like the prosecution might have more to hide. If I was on the jury, I would think that there's a good chance that the prosecution has more to hide. And I think that also makes you not take everything that the prosecution is saying at face value. And so I think that actually benefits the defense. I think that was a benefits Diddy. I think that was a good move. And look, as soon as I come down here, now homegirl stopped screaming. Now she stopped screaming as soon as I came in. I think dude packed up his live. So homegirl stopped screaming. Yeah, dude packed up his live. So I think she was just doing that for him. I think she got like a beef with that guy. I think she just has a beef with people in general. Just so we can be clear. But yeah, so the guy packed up his live and she stopped yelling. That's crazy. Shout out to that. With that being said, there were a lot of, getting back to what we're talking about, there was quite a few text messages that they showed that Cassie had that actually lends to the idea that she wasn't forced to do any of these things. That's still not talking about the legality of what was happening. We're still not talking about that because still you can't take a person from one state to another state in order to engage in sex. And so that's neither here nor there. And today also they were talking about allowing some of the evidence in about the drug trafficking, because remember, he's also being accused of that, and also in addition to it. So they was also talking about today some of the drug trafficking. So now I don't know, us being, all things being even, now I don't know exactly how we're supposed to accept the drug information if we already know that this other information the prosecution has been leaving out. I'm not sure how we're going to accept this. I guess we got to see how it's given to us. But some of the drug case has already been spoken on, just so we can be clear. There's a guy named D-Rock, and apparently D-Rock was the drug dealer. There was another guy that was a drug supplier. He goes by the name of One Stop or something like that. He was a drug supplier, and apparently D-Rock was in communications with One Stop. But the defense is saying that there's no way to definitively know who One Stop was. Although we do know who D-Rock is, there's no definitive way for them to find out who One Stop was. So how can you accuse of any of these things? And we was talking to Lucci earlier on the other live, and he made a great point. He said the government is trying to say that some of these things, these drugs were called, some of the names they were called was like footballs and everything. And I'm under the belief, I didn't hear Cassie's testimony, but I'm under the belief that unless there is a witness that gets on the stand and says, this means that, and that means this, that they can't just decide these things organically. I'm under that belief, just so we can be clear. So unless the government has some type of proof or some type of evidence or a witness that's going to get on the stand to co-sign them saying that football meant this and alcohol or whatever beverages meant that, I don't see how that's something that we could take. Remember, this is a court of law. This is not this ain't the street. In the street you can say anything and people agree to anything about anything. This is a court of law, and we don't do that here. You understand what I'm saying? That's not what we do. That's not the type of time we do. So, just, my opinion on that, and as far as that goes. So we're going to see exactly what happened. There will be no court tomorrow. There's court on Friday. We're not going to be here Friday, but court Friday's supposed to be a short day. We're not going to be here Friday. We're going to be back on Monday. Fridays, I donate my time to my local church. So, you know, that's God's time. So we're not going to be here on Friday. Just so we can be clear. We're not going to be here any Friday. Just so we can be clear. The only chance, we're not going to be here any Friday. The only chance that there is for us to be here on Friday is if Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, there's supposed to be a verdict. There is no verdict. And then on Friday, what the hell is that? Oh, shoot, I know that guy. He's that famous? Oh, shit. Yes, I know him. He's an attorney. Y'all know I covered a couple of court cases. So I'm seeing the dude that I know, and every time I see him, he dap me up. So I see him walking down the block with my homegirl that works for Court TV, pulled out her phone and she's filming him. So I'm like, that's not a regular blogger. Like, you know, what's up, man? I'm like, that's not a regular blogger. Like, why is he fighting? I'm like, oh shit, that's my homie. I keep forgetting that I know people. Shout out to Jack Frost. I be forgetting. I'm just being honest with you. He's one of Diddy's lawyers. I might be able to get a word next time I see him. Next time I see him. It pays to be yourself, folks. It pays to be yourself. It pays not to try to get along, go along to get along. It pays to be yourself, all right? When you be yourself, you meet the people you're supposed to meet. When you go along to get along, you meet a whole bunch of people that you are not intended to meet. It pays to be yourself. Message. In any regard. So, oh, also, just so we could be clear, they showed the photo of Cassie the other day, actually. They showed the photo of her where she got injured, and it was a really, it looked like she caught a hook. She had a deep gash right here over her eye. They showed it the other day in court. It was a pretty deep gash. But they showed that on the redirect, apparently. So the prosecution has the witness up there, talks to the witness. They say, okay, we're done with this witness. The defense goes up there to the cross, talks to the witness. The defense says a couple of things. And because of what the defense brings out, the prosecution then redirects and shows the photo of Cassie, just so we can be clear. So I'll go over real quick of what the defense said prior to them handing the witness back over. And maybe you could put two and two together why they decided to show this. It was basically, okay, so basically, remember I told you, there was no police report of being arrested. So Diddy did not get arrested, not for the attack on Cassie in 2015. The alleged attack. Okay. So there was an alleged attack in 2015 that happened on Cassie. Diddy did not get arrested for that situation. The defense made a big deal about Diddy not getting arrested for that situation. And that's when the prosecution came out with their redirect and decided to show the photo of Cassie and the injury that she had. And it was a bad injury. I don't know how she got it, but it was a real bad injury. I'm just going to be honest with you. Hello. It was a real bad injury. I'm just going to be honest with you. Really, really bad injury. If somebody hit a woman and did that to a woman from hitting them, sheesh, man. You got to be better than that. I don't know what else to tell you. Got to be better than that. Like, hitting a woman is one thing, but hitting a woman with the force it would have taken to do that, I don't know how she got it. She could have failed trip. It could have really been a situation like that, whatever, you know. There was no police report that accompanied it, so I'm not here to give you my... other people do that, but we don't do that over here. But it looked bad. We don't have any questions. I think I'm gonna get up out of here. Ah, fuck. I know we was reception was terrible. Came back over here real quick. I'm gonna repeat what I was saying real quick, just in case I didn't get it. I know the reception was terrible. So one of the things that they did was the prosecution on a redirect had decided that they was gonna show the gash. The Cassie had a real bad injury in 2015, and what they did was when they showed it on redirect. So I want to be clear about this. The prosecution spoke with the witness, and then they did not show the photo. They decided to hand the witness over to the defense. After the defense talked to the witness, there was a redirect after, right? The cross-examination, it was a redirect. That means that the prosecution got an opportunity to speak to the witness and about whatever the cross-examination was about, or any questions that they wanted to. So what they decided to do was they showed the photo of Cassie's wound from 2016, which allegedly was done by Diddy, alleged. Remember, Diddy was never arrested for this. I want to be clear on this. He was not arrested for this. He did say that he mentioned he might be arrested, and had said that the police were there, and they had showed up after there was a physical altercation between him and Cassie, just so we can be clear. And Cassie had messaged about how, Cassie had messaged to somebody else about how she should have sued Diddy, just so we can be clear. So they showed the gash. She had a gash over her eye. It was bad. It looked deep, and it was bad. I just want to be clear about this. And they also showed a text where they were referencing, someone was referencing that Diddy had knocked Cassie around. I just want to be clear on this. So this is what the prosecution had did yesterday. And they also showed the text where Cassie has said that nothing good comes out of freak-offs anymore. So apparently she decided she didn't want to do them anymore. And she said that there was nothing good that comes out of freak-offs anymore. And then that was in the text. And then the witness says that she only organized the evidence that she was given. So once again, the prosecution did not give the person who was organizing the evidence all of the evidence. They just gave them the evidence that I guess that they deemed was important to the case that they were putting on. And once again, I just want to point this out. We was covering the Taxstone trial. And in the Taxstone trial, also there was a lot less like texts and things like that or evidence of this kind to have anybody to go through. But in the Taxstone trial, I will say this about the prosecution. They brought all of the evidence into the trial, even the evidence that did not necessarily help their case. Any evidence they had a hold of, any evidence that they had, they brought all evidence into the trial. Every piece of evidence that could be used, they brought that into the trial, and they worked in their favor. They was able to get a, they wasn't able to get the highest count, but they was able to get a murder 2, I believe, manslaughter. They was able to get that. They wasn't able to get a murder 1. They was able to get a murder 2. But in this particular case, it seems like Diddy's people are, pardon me, not Diddy's people, the prosecution is not putting in all of the evidence that might be able to better contextualize exactly what was going on in this particular situation. With that being said, I just want to do one more live real quick because I wanted to cover that title, that the title of this video is. Everybody have a blessed day. We'll be back on Monday. There's no court tomorrow. There's a jurist that is sick, so there's no court tomorrow, 0 court. And on Friday, I'm not going to be here because I go work for God on Friday. I work with God every day. But on Friday, I got to show up to my church to work for God. So we won't be here on Friday. With that being said, I love y'all. Everybody go out there in the world, do something worth doing. Stamp your name, stamp God's name on it, and let people know that you come in the name of the Most High. I'm out.